Welcome back to the ASTV Sports Show with Keith McKnight. Theo Tutluck here with you. And in between us is a gentleman by the name of Cameron Craig. What is your role with the Reils hockey program? And tell me real quick about this anti-bullying program that we've taken over.
Well, first of all, thanks for having me, guys. Last year I took over the role as general manager with St. Boniface Riels, and previous year I was the assistant general manager after transitioning over there from another organization. And kind of how we came up with this idea was we were looking for a way to be involved in the community. And I remember when we first talked there, I kind of told you about what the Red Cross has done with the Beyond the Hurt program within the school divisions and what they do. And you know, it's just such a great idea. I figured, you know, let's get into the community, kind of use a little bit of their curriculum and talk to young hockey players from the St. Boniface Minor about just kind of keeping kindness at the rink and, you know, being a good teammate and making sure that everybody feels welcome to come into the room, which is essentially the most important thing of any sport, right?
Without a kind heart and without an open arm, you really don't know how well you're going to be received, whether it be a team of rookies or a team of veterans. You never know. Tell me how this program gets the actual players involved within the community.
Well, we're blessed to have kids that took into this initiative and just loved every second of it. So 2 years ago we did our first run with it. It was kind of thrown together last minute there. We kind of wanted to get into the room, wear pink shirts, talk about, you know, anti-bullying and whatnot. And like I said, our first motto was keep kindness at the rink. And so we figured, you know, we'd see if there was any reception from the community of St. Boniface, and, you know, we're expecting to do a couple visits and whatnot, and that turned into, you know, 20 teams in the first year. Got into the practices there, and as for your question there, it wasn't every kid on our team wanted to be involved in it because, you know, they love the grassroots. You got to have good people within your organization, which I believe in the MMJ all across the league we do. So yeah, it wasn't very hard at all.
When you say like the anti-bullying, the first thing that comes to my mind is something such as the safety of the players. When you say about, you know, being kinder at the rink, the inclusion, feeling welcome. One thing that also stands out to me with this, it seems that you're going to want to change the culture of hockey in and out of the locker room, as well as on and off the ice as well, because the word hazing is something that really it sticks out to me a lot. You've heard a lot of stories these last couple of years. I was speaking with Theo about this earlier. And yeah, so if you just want to elaborate on that, how that's going to transition into helping kids with eliminating some of that in the culture.
Yeah, we've, you know what, through the last couple of years, we haven't touched on hazing too much. We've made it a blatant message that it doesn't belong in sports. Kind of what we're getting after is the 7- and 8-year-olds, and we're up to the 16-year-olds in St. Boniface Minor about making sure that everybody feels welcome within a room. And one thing we talk about, which is really on the same level as hazing, is camaraderie. As you get older in this game and you're playing in any locker rooms and in any sports, there's a lot of joking around. So this year we were kind of built off the idea of camaraderie, which can turn into hazing. If a joke that's made a joke keeps being repeated, and somebody doesn't find that funny, then that's no longer, that's no longer a joke. Like, that's no longer, camaraderie. That is insulting. That's bullying, and then that can turn into hazing. I feel that within Sport Manitoba and hockey, they've been able to dial in a little bit on this outrageous hazing that goes on within junior hockey, high school hockey, and down to some other levels. So we haven't really got into what happens outside, because the kids we're talking to, I think they're having rookie parties yet, right, where a lot of these outrageous things have happened in the past, right? But
so those are not like things that are happening on the premises of like a game day or something like that. So
yeah, no, like I said, this is mostly just making sure that kids come to their locker room and feel welcome. The jokes that are being made aren't just taken too far. And a lot of what we do is we talk to coaches that were coming into a room and say, do you see any issues? And there are a few. So if hazing had been one, then we would have looked at a way to maybe action that, but it hasn't yet. So, and we really hope that it doesn't, because it's absolutely no place for hazing within sports.
Yeah, like you said, it doesn't have any place in sports at all, let alone the hockey culture.
Yeah.
So yeah. Theo, go ahead.
So we've got this last question for you here, and I know we've talked about it just being a month long in February, wearing the shirts and going out to the teams here in St. Boniface. How could you see this vision of this program actually grow a little bit so it maybe does extend itself from the rink and works into other Hockey Manitoba culture and maybe perhaps into other sport?
Right. So yeah, but the first night we talked to Theo, we announced that we're turning from a campaign to a foundation. We're going to stay the course with what we do in St. Boniface Minor. We're going to keep our kids within the community because they've excelled at it. And we've actually feel that we've been educated enough off the amazing work that the Red Cross has done, kind of what we've learned from being in the locker rooms. And we just want to be an outlet to anybody else in Sport Manitoba that feels that this could be going on in their room. And we would like other teams, especially in junior sports, to understand that they have a repertoire of role models under their belt. And this is a great thing to get kids doing because I don't think it's just St. Boniface kids that have taken it under their wing and have loved doing it. I think it's a message that a lot of kids want to be a part of from 17 to 21. And these kids, when they walk into a 7 and 8-year-old hockey room, they're immediately young, they're role models, heroes. So we have to really utilize our kids within the community as much as possible, whether it's anti-bullying or some other way to support the community.
So the foundation has begun, it's growing, and it's great to hear how this teenage young group of men has become role models and greater citizens for this younger group. I want to thank you very much, Cameron. Is there anything else you'd like to finish off with before we let you go today?
I'd thank you guys for having me, and if anybody wants to get in touch with me, maybe you guys can post some information of mine.
Sure. Is there a website or is there a way to get a hold of you at all, Cameron?
Right now it'd be best just email to get a hold of me, and I'd be happy to answer any questions from anybody, and if they want to be involved in what we do, we'd love to have everybody else on board possible.
Well, I appreciate that very much, Cameron. Thank you very much for joining us.